to the Louder Lawyer podcast. We got Hiva and Amir.
Welcome to the show, guys. How you doing today?
Great,
So,
great.
Good.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you guys get started?
Well, I didn't actually go to law school until I turned 30. I decided, you know what, I wanna be a lawyer. I was getting tired of paying other lawyers to do work, and I worked full time and I pushed it through night classes for about 4 years, and I just kept chipping away at it. And then when we met, none of us were in law school, and then she started her journey after me as well too. And she's a lot smarter than I am, so she had all these offers to go. Like, she could have gone to any law school. I'm like, come to my law school. I've already been in there. I'll kind of give you the ins and outs, and then it's kind of how I went from there as far as law school goes.
That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
it ended up working out. And when I first started versus when I got out of law school, my goals were completely different. I went into law school for completely different reasons. I actually wanted to become an attorney for animals and their rights. And then I remember I became the vice president of the animal rights club at our school. And then my duty was to go clean cars. And I actually dragged him along with me. And I was like, wait a minute, if I continue this route, I can actually never help these animals because I will actually not make any money, like financially speaking. So I was like, I have to choose a different route so that I can gain money and then power so that I can actually follow through with my goals of helping animals in the long run. But yeah.
Yeah, the first red flag was when I went to this animal legal defense fund meeting.
Yeah.
They were serving Jimmy John sandwiches, which the owner is like, he's a big game hunter and stuff. I was like, if this is for protecting animals and you guys serving this, I was like, something doesn't add up
Something doesn't
here.
add up.
Yeah, and then they had us washing cars on the weekends, and that was not. I don't know how that helped, defend the rights of animals. So,
Yeah.
and the same with me. I was gonna do immigration law, and then it just changes. Just like everything else in life, it changes as you grow.
Right.
So how'd you get into the personal injury space?
The way I got into it was when I was in my last year of my last semester of law school. I had a friend who he had his son in the back seat, and he got hit by somebody who ran a stop sign, and his son was like 2 years old at the time, I believe. And his son suffered a real traumatic brain injury, and they had to put a stent in his head. And he became really passionate about it. And he would tell me the story, and it's something that intrigued me about. You're doing a couple of things. One, you're fighting for victims, and then two, you're also holding the insurance companies accountable. So he got me into it. I started interning there in my last semester of law school, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with fighting for people, getting them compensation, and taking money out of insurance pockets. And
Yeah.
yeah, I worked probably at 4 different firms, including the insurance defense, until we finally ended up here opening the injury firm.
Nice. And then
What about you, Hiva?
I was at the public defender's office and I loved it so much. I was actually really passionate about it. But once again, the lifestyle that came with it, I wasn't actually really able to help contribute to people's lives. And then I went to a private firm, and then I started doing personal injury too. And the first case that landed on my desk was a wrongful death case. It was about a 3-year-old child who was actually he drowned and passed away. It was really sad, and I met with the families, and just seeing what we can. I mean, we can't undo what happened, but just seeing what we can do to change their lives a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't even say with compensation, but
Give them some closure at
yeah, give
least.
them some closure. I can't even say, like, even if it's millions of dollars won't bring their 3-year-old son back, but it can at least, like he said, bring some closure and change a
And
little
that's
bit.
that's what I always tell my clients, right? What's happened has happened. We can't go back in time. The first thing I would ask a jury for is $100 million to create a time machine and go back in time, but that's not possible, right?
Right.
And when tragedy happens, and the victims or the parents of a child are kind of just left, mourning their loss, and nobody's taking any type of accountability. I don't think it's so much about the compensation or the money portion. It's really about accountability. And that's the only way that they can do that, right? They can formally always take accountability and formally say, hey,
Accept liability.
accept liability,
It's a form of
and
justice, right? It's a form of justice.
yeah, give an apology, right? So that's really what it comes down to.
And a lot of times they don't. Even with
Yeah.
that wrongful death case, like their initial offer, I believe, was like $5,000.
They were trying to blame the parents,
Yeah.
because it was a child went into the swimming pool, but there was gates around the swimming pool, but the gate
Failed.
was defective.
Yeah.
And they try to always put the blame on parents or something like that. So then how that brings up different type of emotions, and people need advocates to fight for them all the time in any field.
So who did you guys actually go after on that case?
Everyone. The contractor, the manufacturer of the gate, homeowners insurance, the inspector who inspected the house and said that the gate was actually safe, but it wasn't.
When they sold the house, right?
When they sold the house,
Yeah.
literally everyone.
And did everyone have to pay, or did only one person have to pay?
Everyone had to pay, but obviously bigger parties had to pay for the bigger portions of it.
And bigger insurance companies,
Yeah.
right? It's the insurance
companies that we go after all. But the contractor,
Yeah.
Their insurance, yeah. Do you mind sharing what the final settlement number was for that?
So when I first started there, we were in litigation, and it was towards the end of it that I kind of left and I joined him and we started our own thing. So I'm not exactly sure how much it ended up settling at, but I remember we asked for $3 million.
Nice. And how long have you had your guys' firm for now?
Probably just over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How did you, and your firm is called the Injury Firm, right?
Correct.
Injury law firm. How'd you get that?
Badass
Real
name.
name? Yeah.
It was the injury firm. You know what? I was trying to come up with something. I didn't want the law offices of Hiva or something like that. I wanted something generic. And then I'm a big '90s hip hop, early 2000s hip hop type of guy, and I remember the firm. I don't know if you guys remember the firm. Yeah. So I tried to go with that, and that was taken. And then next thing that was available was the injury firm, and I was close enough. So.
Wow,
And
that's
I
great
think
for SEO.
yeah, it's pretty generic, right? So I know people have called us like, "Oh, we've seen your commercial." It's like we don't have commercials, but
The Injury Firm sounds like such a big brand.
Right.
Like if
Yeah.
I were just to see the Injury Firm, I'd be like, yo, this has to be like
Huge.
$1 billion brand. It sounds that big, you know what I mean? It's such a badass name.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I was surprised it was available. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So you got into law like in you guys' 30s, like what was that journey to get into law school? Like what was that moment you're like, I'm gonna be an attorney?
Like I said, well, she didn't get to it in her 30s. She's 30 now, but I started in my 30s. And it was just like I said, I did not want to pay other attorneys to do things that I think I could do better myself. And again, I was going to do immigration law at first, then I was going to do criminal defense, and
Right.
it's just something that I have a passion for. I like speaking. I love fighting for people. I like making people happy. Other people's happiness is my happiness. So just doing that and putting a smile on people's faces, seeing their appreciation, doing right by clients and doing right by people is what literally motivates me and drives me every day.
What were you doing before? Like you said, you were working full time.
So I used to work for the Clippers, doing sales and marketing for them, and I used to also work for the Sacramento Kings doing the same thing.
Interesting. So what does sales and marketing look like for a basketball team?
It's pretty bad. Throughout the time when the Lakers are the winning team, and I'm a Lakers fan, but I gotta sit here and cold call businesses and convince them that they should
Buy season
spend
tickets?
tens of thousands of dollars on courtside seats for the Clippers instead of the other team in town. And I'd like to say I was still the number one salesperson there, with all of that. Yeah.
Hey, congratulations. How does that sales training and that sales ability transfer over to the law firm?
They say everything in life is a sale, right? Every phone call is a sale. You either sell a person on the phone on why, if you're talking to your friends, why you're gonna go to why we should eat at this restaurant, or they're gonna sell you on why we shouldn't eat at this restaurant. So it helps a lot when you come to negotiate with insurance companies. When I speak to the clients or when I try to sign on a client, I don't I'm not a salesperson because it's too obvious, and I don't want to sell anybody on anything. But when you speak to insurance companies, it's a lot of sales tactics, a lot of sales tactics. It's a lot of psychology that's involved. And the way we try to do it, I try to do it different than anybody else. I try to be transparent, give them everything we have. We have nothing to hide. If you have a client you have a good client, the client has nothing to hide. I give them everything. So definitely, it's come in handy, and because you speak with any different walks of life, so
Yeah.
I feel like I can build a relationship with any person. An adjuster could be in Tennessee, could be in San Diego, male, female, young, old. I just can build a rapport with anybody.
How did you use those sales ability on wifing up Eva?
Shoot, that was
It's a very
that
interesting story.
that was the hardest sale ever. I still don't know. I'm still after 7 years in shock about it. So it still
She was
feels like I'm trying to know myself.
she was briefly telling us the story about how you guys met. She was
Yeah.
on her way to Javier's or something. Hopped out, had a crazy Uber driver's car, and then there you were, standing
Yeah.
in
So
all your glory.
yeah, it's a crazy story. It's like I went out day drinking with some of my friends that I've never hung out with before or since. Went to a day drinking place I'd never gone to before or since, and she was going to Javier's, I guess, and her friend was on a date, and her friend wanted her to come in as like not the third wheel, but just to make sure she's okay.
Right.
She didn't want to go. She was convinced into going. Guy got into a crazy road rage incident, and they told him like, dude, forget Javier's, just turn to the next place, which happened to be the place that I'm at. And at this point, I've been drinking a little bit. I don't want to remember anything.
Game was on
Apparently,
point
I
though.
walked by. I made a face at her. I don't
You
know.
should show the face.
I just made like like it was like just like some random.
He was like, what?
You
Not
know?
flattering, not a flattering look.
Yeah, I was just like. So I don't remember it, and for some reason we were Facebook friends, right? I don't know who this girl is, and
Yeah.
she's a very beautiful girl, so she has tons of requests. I don't know why she had added me at some point. And she messaged me, hey, why did you make that face at me last week? And I don't know what the hell she was talking about, but I was like, I was just trying to make you smile. Just went along with some cheesy thing.
Right.
Is me, but the whole time she had some other like alternative motive agenda to it. Like she was gonna get me back because she saw some of my posts that she didn't like. So anyway, long story short, she kind of I kept asking her like, hey, let's go on a date, let's go on coffee or come over for some tea. She's like, I don't know you like that. I'm not coming to your house. I got an hour to kill. If you want, come down here. You can meet me at Starbucks, and that's it.
Right.
And then actually, it wasn't an hour; it was like 10 minutes to kill. But that 10 minutes turned into like an hour-long conversation, and I called all my buddies and I said I met my wife. Nobody believed me, but here we are, 8 years, 8 years later. Right?
Yeah, but we realized we had met like 5 years prior to that too at a mutual friend's birthday party too. So it was just really cool.
That's how you became Facebook friends, I guess.
Maybe,
Possibly.
Wow, and you really left an impression for her to remember you and add you on Facebook?
Yeah, I think it was more of anger.
It was the face. It was the post.
Look, it was like I don't know how.
Do not repeat the post.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
really inappropriate.
Yeah, I got catfish on Tinder at that time, and I got really upset. So I made some inappropriate hip hop lyrics to her, and then I've been holding on to this. Let's just say the Lil Wayne lyrics, And anyway, I held on to this screenshot for like 3 months. My buddy's like, dude, you gotta put it on Facebook. It's funny. And coincidentally, I put it on Facebook the week after that incident happened at the bar. And then so she sees this post. She's like, "Who the fuck is this guy putting this type of inappropriate, disrespectful thing up?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my god, it's the guy that made the face at me. I'm gonna fucking show him." And then that's basically what led to that coffee meeting that turned into something else.
Love it. Love it.
What is it like running a business with your significant other?
At first, everybody always says, oh my gosh, it's so hard. It's so this. How can you do that? How can you be together 24 hours in a day? But I actually feel like at first it was really challenging. But now we know like what each other likes. We know each other's boundaries, what to not cross. And stay within each other's boundaries. And now it has actually like helped our relationship, I feel, because he has his strengths and I have mine, and weaknesses and vice versa, so we know exactly how to like deal with that.
Yeah. I was always worried about it. You know, I didn't want it to break the romance in a relationship, right? I don't want to wake up with the person, drive to work with that person, and work with that person, then drive home with the person, and eat dinner with that person, and go to sleep every single day. So I was really, really worried about it. And we've come a long way in a year and a
Yeah.
half. We started off in a cubicle, and then we got this like small executive room, so we're both in that room too. We didn't have our own offices, but like she said, at the beginning it was hard, and but like she said, we've actually grown from it a lot and kind of understand each other better, and it's more of a, I don't want to say power couple, but it's a good team to have. I wouldn't have any other person besides
You
me.
could say power couple. It's power couple.
Yeah.
And we're really different from each other, so it actually balances each other
Yeah.
out,
Oh yeah.
like, right.
Remember, she's a smart one. She's the
No, I'm not smart.
voice of reason. I'm the I'm gonna act on it. I'm gonna get crazy. She'll be like, calm down, just relax, wait.
That's what you
That's
need,
the
though. You need that
best decision to
balance.
make.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you need the
exactly.
complementary assets.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? So in the beginning, you said you guys were in a small cubicle. Like, what was that process like? Like, take us through that period of time where you guys decided, hey, let's go start our own firm. You had been at other firms. Let's go start our own firm. And then what was like the next step?
Well, that cubicle was our own firm, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
when we did that
One
when
second.
we
Can you move in closer?
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
like our first spot was when we decided to go out on our own, was that cubicle. And
yeah.
before then, when I tried to go out on my own, I was like at the in-laws house in a guest room, just trying to sign on any client I can. And then yeah, and then we went to that cubicle, and it was kind of tough. It was very I don't want to say embarrassing, because I didn't want client. It was a cubicle in like an industrial construction place, right?
Mm.
It's not a place where a law firm was, and clients would find me, and they just kind of show up sometimes. And then there's a conference room downstairs, but sometimes they would just bypass that and come upstairs, and like in the cubicle, I'm like, oh, my office is being renovated. Like, don't worry, this is just
That's what all those construction things for.
right there. So it's like you're like sitting in an open cubicle in an industrial building. So, but I love those times.
Me
I
too.
really do. I love looking back on those times. It's just it drives you more, and it motivates you more, and always remembers that we're building something great here.
Yeah.
And in a year and a half, we have a full staff of about, I think, 8 or 9 employees now, and we've already matched what we did last year in settlements, and we don't do any marketing, just word of mouth referrals. And that's just because we do the right thing. We do right by our clients. Our number one rule is our clients make more money than us. We'll never ever walk with more money than our clients. I don't ever want to be that one attorney where you're at a barbecue 6 months from now and sharing some stories like, I got in an accident, got an attorney, and after all the attorney fees and medical bills, I was just left with $2,000. Like, I don't want to be that attorney. I want to be the opposite of that. We want to be the opposite of that, and it's happened. Our clients keep referring us more clients because I'd like to think we do an amazing job, and we're hands on. What firm do you know that I have one cell phone? She has one cell phone. What firm do you know that you can reach your attorney on their cell at any time? Because I know when I was an attorney, I always thought like, hey, if I hire an attorney, this motherfucker better answer my call. Like, I have an attorney. You know what I mean? Like, yo, hey, what's up?
Right.
But real world is
Doesn't
not
work.
like that at
Doesn't work
all.
like that.
Real world is not like that at all. So
Yeah, we hear those stories all the time.
yeah,
I can never get through to them. It's always a secretary. It's always like I get put me out.
Yeah.
I leave a message. They never call me back. Yeah, that
Yeah.
personal touch is huge.
Always invite them in. Come see us. Come to the
Yeah.
office. Meet us.
Especially the ones that are nearby or local, when they call us, like Google reviews, or they just sometimes walk in, or the Google reviews. I'm like, why don't you come? We want to
Yeah,
meet you. We
come
want to
in.
see you in person.
Yeah.
So that's where quality comes versus quantity. A lot of these firms, they focus on quantity, just numbers. We like to focus on the actual individuals and meet them and add value to their life, change their life in a more positive way.
Yeah.
Than,
Yeah. My favorite part of the job is making that call to the
Call.
client,
Yeah.
and they become overcome with emotions, and it literally changes their life, you know.
Especially the homeless clients. Those are my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah,
ones.
The homeless clients?
yeah.
Yeah.
Most, yeah,
Those
a good
guys.
percentage of our clients are come from a lower socioeconomic background, you know. So it's a big life changing event that's happened to them. You know, when you get injured in a car accident or when you slip and fall, it's not just about the pain you have to go through every day. You're missing work. You're not able to work. You have kids that you can't really pick up anymore, and you just think your life is never going to be the same again, and you're just falling behind on your debt. You fall in debt more. So to get that and change your life and kind of give them a little bit of, you know, light or sunlight at the
Yeah.
end, you know, light at the end of the tunnel of
Give
this
them a
thing.
break,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some hope.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's amazing, you know. It drives me to work even harder.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love you guys' story. I love that everything from the injury firm. I love that name. And then meeting you guys in person, the power couple. You guys got the love story behind it. You guys have good energy. I'm really like I can feel the passion you guys have for your clients and for what you guys do. You know what I mean? And the integrity.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I appreciate it. You know,
Absolutely.
a lot of injustice happens out there, and we just try to do our best to balance the scale of justice.
You guys say you guys don't do any marketing. Why is that?
You know, I don't know. I just we don't have a need for it right now.
We get a lot of cases as
Yeah,
it
we
is.
get
I mean,
yeah, it's a good problem to have.
yeah.
You know, I'm sure eventually we
We
will,
will, yeah.
but right now we have our hands full. I think we have over 500 and something active cases that we're working on.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue, but you know, I'm sure eventually we will. We're just a year and a half in, so we'll see when it gets to that point.
You guys grew very fast. Like, what was
Yeah.
the?
What do you
Like,
attribute that growth to?
You know, one, it's her pushing me to go to more events.
Remember?
It's a lot of a lot of networking, and a lot of times I'm so tired after working, and she's like, "Hey, we need to go to this dinner. We need to go to here and there," and then we meet people. We meet other attorneys who may be in the field for 30 years, and they'll refer us cases, or we'll meet people who, just you know, just letting people know what we do, and then so they know that, hey, if something, and we tell them when we meet them, we tell them exactly how we go about things. Right? Our number one rule: we are hands on with each attorney. If you ever need to get a hold of me, you can reach me. So we show them that we stand out. And then the other thing is, as funny as it is, it's Instagram, right? So when I was single, I was on Instagram. I got off Instagram when I met Hiva. You know, I just didn't have a need for it. It was my own decision. I just didn't want to be on it, and I thought it was a big distraction. And then when I first got my job at a personal injury firm as an intern, my friend Michael Royer told me, "You need to get on Instagram." I was like, "No, man, I don't do that social media shit." It's like, "You need to get on Instagram right now. You're gonna post every day. I don't care what you post." And so I took that and I ran with it. So I post every single day. Most of the times, you know, sometimes it's a video of the office, settlements, whatever it may be, just to stay on the forefront of people's minds. So then, when God forbid a follower's or friend's neighbor's uncle's son gets into a car accident, they're like, "Oh, Amir or Hiva, they're an injury attorneys. Let me call them up." And that's been, you know, that's worked a lot, and that's one of the big things. It's Instagram, social media, networking with different people, um, and they just send us cases.
And doing the right thing. When you do the right thing, that's the best referral
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
From
exactly.
current clients.
Yeah, and our current clients send us a bunch of clients. You know,
Yeah.
I think I have one client who sent us like 6 clients by
Yeah.
now.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, that
I'm-
level of open cases is astounding, especially for a two-person team. I mean, you guys have staff, right?
Yes,
Yes.
You're
yes,
the two attorneys.
correct.
Firm, right?
Yes.
No other associates or anything like that.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because we like to give advice to, like, you know, upcoming attorneys who watch our show and things like that. Like, what do you think are? I mean, you mentioned networking. You mentioned being open and transparent, being hands-on, doing the right things. But still, I feel like we hear that from a lot of attorneys, and they do marketing. Yet, for some reason, they don't have even close to the numbers that you guys have. Like, what else do you think it might be?
You know, marketing a personal injury, it's a very competitive field, right? So you're going to spend a lot of money to do marketing.
Yeah.
And most attorneys who are just starting out on their own, they're probably not going to have all that money to put up. And especially in personal injury, you're not going to get a return for a year or two, right? So you got to have a really good, a
Base.
good base, or at least a
Yeah.
good, good stash to kind of keep yourself secure. Um, what I did, I don't know if anybody else does, but this, I thought this was me thinking outside the box. I called up all my attorney friends, any attorney I met. I told them, look, I'll give you a really good referral fee, you know, send me clients. So if you get, whether it's a criminal lawyer, whatever. So if there's anybody else they're working with, they're gonna send them to me because I'm gonna give them a really good referral fee. And they're like, damn, Amir, you're giving that much of your fees away? But it's like, you know what? I'd rather pay that later instead of upfront. And then when they refer me a client, that client's gonna know me, and then that client's gonna refer me other clients. That client's gonna leave me a review, which may attract other clients, and it just became a snowball effect.
You giving up that extra percentage of the referral is like you paying for marketing.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
And it's not upfront, it's at the end, right? After we get our
When we
fees.
get the results. Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of attorneys miss the mark is they're too like I don't wanna-
Greedy.
Yeah.
Okay, we can say that. But like, yeah, they're too like this with the money, and what they don't
Yeah.
know is like if you relinquish some of that, put
Yeah.
yourself out there and be kind and be a win-win. I'll help you win, you help me win. That's
Exactly.
where it is. And everything you just laid out like the exact plan. Everything from the networking event where you don't feel like it. Luckily you have an awesome partner who pushes you. Hey, I know you're tired, but we need to go to this networking event. Meeting people, plus with your sales background, you know how to talk to people, including with the social media, putting yourself out there. And when you network with people, they follow you on social media. Now they're seeing you even more and more and more, following up with them. Being having integrity. And then and you guys blowing up in just a year and a half. You've done what it takes a lot of attorneys 10 years to do if they ever get there in a year and a half. And big congratulations to you guys.
Appreciate
That's
it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. It means a
And,
lot.
and you're definitely right about the social media thing, because when we do networking events, we don't exchange phone numbers anymore.
Yeah.
I said, "What's your Instagram?" So what's your Instagram? So you follow me on Instagram, because phone number is just gonna get lost in the Rolodex,
Yeah.
and business
Who's
cards,
this?
where's that gonna go? But Instagram, they're gonna see what I do, right?
Exactly.
And then I see what they do, and we send a DM. Hey, if right now on your friends, I'll bet you if you text your friend, you DM your friend at the same time, your DM will get answered quicker than you text.
I actually
Exactly.
texted you this. I DM'd you this morning, and you texted me
Yeah,
back.
yeah, I'll DM people. Hey, check your text.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's
I know
So
with
I
social
just
media and Instagram, it's like the best business card you could ever give somebody, right? It's like
Yeah.
just this random card that gets left or lost or a phone number. You're seeing it. You're getting a window into my life and what I do and my capabilities and
who you are as a
who
person.
you are and who you want to be presented as.
right.
Yeah.
It's like,
And your success stories and your outcomes. So you see, and I try to explain as much as I can. Like I feel like I've done things that are I always tell everybody, my methods or our methods are unorthodox. You know what I mean? So, and some of these accomplishments and big wins we've had, I think, are one of a kind, and I really take pride in that, and I want people to see that, and I want to share as much as I can.
And I do want to say one thing for the upcoming attorneys. Sometimes when you go work at big law firms, they kind of just have a formula to every case. They just treat everything like, okay, their medical bills are this much, the property damage is this, X amount of money. No, you have to get to know your client. You have to get to know their story. You have to focus on the general damages. And that goes like, what did this accident do to them? Where did that leave them when it comes to getting them a settlement amount? So don't become corrupted over time and just look at cases as a formula. Like, get
Yeah.
to know the client, get to know the story, and paint that story to the adjuster or to defense counsel. So that's one thing I would say.
Yeah, best advice I ever got was build rapport with the insurance adjuster. Because I
That's
used to think it was adversarial, but he said build rapport with
no.
them, and that was one of the best advice I got. And when I first got licensed, I worked at 4 firms in 1 year. People thought I was crazy,
wow.
but it's like, oh, not gonna look good. I knew what my end goal was, so I just wanted to go to a firm where I learned things, and the one that I thought fits what I had, what my vision was.
Right.
So I went here. I don't really like how they do it. I would never do it this way. I went here. I was like, oh, I don't like it. Oh, I like this here. So just like with sales, you pick certain things, you pick people's brains, and you combine them with your own, and then you try to perfect it.
So, what's some of your guys' goals for the next year or two, or even 5 years? Long term.
Oof,
There are a
that's
lot of goals.
yeah. Do you want to answer that? I don't. I
Tell us,
you
Hiva.
know, yeah. You want to answer our goals?
By goals, do you mean just goals that are business related?
It can be business, it can be personal, it can be both.
Both. Tell us both.
I'll go. One of my big goals is I'm really looking to change the game. As I said, I want to change the stigma of personal injury lawyers and how personal injury firms operate. I go out of my way. We work with doctors all the time. To make it a point with these doctors, hey, we don't operate this way. We operate different way. We don't believe in this formula method. We don't There's a lot of our cases we don't have costs on them, zero cost. Whereas most of other firms, PI firms, and I'm thinking more of the ones that have been around for a long time and just don't
Right.
care anymore. They have all these random costs, investigative costs, administrative fees, all these things. We have none of that. And about personal injury, there's this whole thing like everybody gets one third. I don't believe in that at all. I believe in the doctors will get a reasonable fee, and I'm not going to screw anybody over, and my client's going to get as close as possible to 50% of the settlement, and it's very possible. I get into fights with doctors. I just got into it with two the other day, because they're saying, "Oh, there's such a big settlement. There's enough money for everybody." And I told him, I was like, "You don't punish my client for me doing a good job. You don't become greedy and get all this extra money." So, that's my main goal, is just to try to change that. Obviously, our long term goal in 5 years, it's just to build bigger and grow and be the go-to personal injury law firm that I want everybody to come to have a good reputation, build a reputation in our market, and make a name for ourselves.
Man,
Absolutely.
that's great, man. Man, you guys have been awesome. Let's do this again. Let's do this again in person.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
I
Would
would.
love to.
You guys gotta come down to the office here in San Diego.
I would love that. I would love that. Well, we're one of our friends actually lives down there, so we're there quite often. I would love to come down, stop by.
Yeah, come by, stop by, and let us know. You have my number.
Yeah,
And then we'll check you guys out when we go up there as well.
yeah. Anytime. Hey, you're more than
Yeah.
welcome. We're the only personal injury firm in Anaheim Hills, Yorba Linda. So
Okay. Nice.
stop by anytime. It's an open door. You'd be surprised how many walk-ins we get.
Like, oh, hold up, we're under construction.
Yeah. You walk on, we're looking for representation. Like, what? You are? Who? Where? Where did you find us? Oh, I went Google. I was like, okay, you just want to do a real or?
Yeah.
So I was like, come on in, we'll take you in. And there's a lot of things, a lot of things are changing now, right? Washington, Oregon, they're
Yeah.
passing laws that you don't have to take the bar exam anymore.
Well, that's
So,
crazy.
What's
do
your
you-
opinion on
Yeah,
that?
what do you think about that?
it makes no sense to me, because at some point, where are you going to draw the line? So when you take classes, are there going to be no more finals? Do we just get rid of testing?
Yeah,
Does somebody go to law school and get the minimum passing grade, D minus, and then just become an attorney?
yeah.
Right.
um, I don't buy into their, and I don't want to be too controversial, but the reasoning about the bar exam being racist, or it's
How can
you
it
know
be
ag-
great?
against people who don't have access to certain things. I just don't buy that.
Especially from the background that we
Yeah,
both come
I'm
from,
also minority.
immigrants.
My parents didn't have anything. I support my parents, if anything. I put myself through every single for my bachelor's, my AA. I didn't have any privileges. My parents moved here. I moved here in '93. I didn't even speak any English. I spoke fucking German out of all things. So imagine looking like this and speaking German in third grade. It was hell. And I don't I think I went to 3 high schools in 4 years. She went to 4 high schools in 4 years.
Yeah.
So I come from that class, but I never once thought that I was not able to accomplish what I want to accomplish because of that. And I just don't agree with getting rid of that. Would you have surgery by a surgeon who never took the board exam? He comes
Right.
into open heart surgery.
I
Well,
wouldn't. Yeah.
yeah, I went to school, but my grades didn't matter, and I didn't take the test. But I'm going to do
Right.
surgery. It's scary.
It's like that commercial where I can't remember what it was for, but it's like the person goes into the doctor and it's just like, he's like, oh yes, this doctor's gonna perform your procedure, and he's pretty good at it. He's all right.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
It's
it's all
like there's got to be a standard, right? There's got to be a
and
standard.
yeah, and look,
Yeah.
I get the other side of it too, right? Do we use what we learn in law school, or does the bar exam make you a better attorney? Probably not, right? We probably don't use 75% of what we learn in law school, and we probably don't use much of anything from the bar exam. But what it does is the same thing, same reason why you go get your bachelor's degree. It's about discipline. It's about being able to sit in one place for a couple months at a time, take in information, and then be able to use that information to answer questions and hypotheticals. Right? I had an epiphany when I was interviewing for my Sacramento Kings job of why I went to college. Because to get that job, I had to put together a presentation. I had to put together a PowerPoint and sell myself. And we do that in college, right? You write papers and all that. So, you know, I don't disagree that the bar exam doesn't make you a good or bad lawyer. I know great lawyers have taken the bar exam multiple times,
Right.
but you do need to be able to show that you can take in information and then apply it, even to things that you're not interested in. So,
It's simply a barrier to entry, and if you get rid of the barrier to entry, you just get a flood of people who shouldn't otherwise be qualified, and then
It lowers the overall quality.
It lowers the quality. You know what I mean? And it's like, at what point do we keep our standards high? It's like we're just gonna
yeah,
keep lowering our standards. Like,
Right.
is obese people gonna join the military now?
yeah,
Yeah.
Is
yeah,
that
yeah,
next?
yeah. So
That's
it shouldn't be a free for all, and you're gonna get the wrong people, in any field,
yeah. It's any field.
any field. You can have good doctors, bad doctors, good mechanics, bad mechanics, and it just opens up the floodgates because there's certain requirements to pass the bar exam as well
And
too.
I think when that does happen, what they're gonna find is things are gonna get filtered out in a different way. You know what I mean? And we're gonna enter. People are gonna have to trust you a lot more nowadays. So
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
yeah,
prove yourself a lot more. The competition's
yeah.
gonna get a lot higher.
Right, and that's why we always say, hey, just do the right thing, and it'll work out. It'll come back.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
don't get greedy. Don't try to cut corners. Just do what you know is right, and always comes. And those sometimes you're faced with those hard decisions. You're like, well, I can do this, and it's gonna help out, but probably not the smartest move to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Nice.
Absolutely.
Right on, man. I love it. It's awesome.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
of course,
Thank you.
anytime. I appreciate you guys for having us on the
Yeah,
show.
I really
I
appreciate this opportunity.
yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Stay on, and we'll end the podcast right now, but don't go anywhere.
All right, thank you.
This has been the Louder Lawyer Podcast.